Everything you've always wanted to know about real estate, but didn't know who to ask. I'm your host, Angie Stanley. Today we have a great lineup, starting with Andrew Aguiar with Urban Financial Group. We have Mike Yeager with Palomar Solar Energy, and we have Melissa Russell with Willis Allen Real Estate. Hi Andrew, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Angie. It's nice to be here.
Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
So tell me, what exactly is Urban Financial Group?
Urban Financial Group is the largest reverse mortgage bank in the United States. We do business in 45 of the 50 states in the union. In fact, a lot of the reverse mortgage banks and brokers that originate these transactions sell their business or their money to us, Urban Financial Group. So we're stationed in, our headquarters is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm happy to be with them.
Awesome. And tell me, what exactly is a reverse mortgage?
A reverse mortgage is a federally insured product that allows homeowners over the age of 62 and over to leverage up to a percentage, typically about 60% of their value to utilize in terms of income, cash, or create a line of credit as they see fit.
Wow, okay. And then how did you get into doing this reverse mortgage? Is this something new? Is this something that's been around for a long time?
Actually, reverse mortgage has been around since 1989 when when the Federal Housing Commission started to insure the products. And I was introduced to it when I was at Countrywide in 2007. I was actually a part of the team that rolled it out to Southern California to FHA-approved brokers at the time. And we were just trying to leverage another part of that market. And so at the time, that's when basically forward mortgage vehicles were at their peak, values were high. I didn't see a sustainability in this market, and I was really excited about, well, I guess the opportunity of how many people were going to be turning 62 over the next 12 years, and saw that it was an increase in market opportunity for me, and I just really enjoyed the space and decided to go that direction.
Okay, and then do you only do reverse mortgages, or
we do?
You
Urban
traditional?
Financial Group
Okay.
specializes in reverse mortgages only.
Okay, and then how do you qualify for a reverse mortgage? I know you said the age of 62 and higher, but what are the other qualifications or parameters?
Well, the neat thing about this product is there's no income and there's no credit that is used to qualify for this transaction. Basically, they are taking the age of the individual over the age of 62, taking the home value up to $625,500, which is the FHA lending ceiling. Even though you have a house that's worth over $625,000, they're only going to lend up to the maximum limit of $625,000, and based on your age, they will determine the benefit available to you. And generally, it's right around 60%. And so we can either use that to pay off a mortgage. If your house is free and clear, they can create a line of credit or take the upfront cash. And it's, for the most part, tax-free because it's equity or cash in your house that you've earned over time.
Wow, okay, and there's no credit check or anything like that?
No, not at this
time.
time.
They don't have to have any sort of form of income coming in?
That's correct,
Wow.
Absolutely.
Interesting. So tell me some benefits and some negatives of doing a reverse mortgage. We'll start with benefits.
Well, the benefits are you can create, over 53% of the people in the United States are going to tap into their home equity as a form of supplement for their income in their retirement. The question is, how are they going to tap into it? The traditional lines are your home equity line of credit, and in order to tap into that and leverage the cash, there's a payment associated with it. Whereas a reverse mortgage allows you to tap into that equity, but the big thing here is there's no payment. So it creates cash flow that is really important to our senior homeowners because they're on a limited fixed income. So that would be a large benefit. The only takeaway is what we're giving you upfront in cash or income or creating a line of credit, it creates a balance. And that balance, because you're not making a payment, is growing over time. So you're giving up future equity to get cash now.
And is there interest that's accrued for?
Yes, it is. And right now, the cost of the loan is right around 4%, which is in line with conventional lending.
Standard loan. Okay. Interesting. And then lastly, can you give me 3 tips that you would recommend to someone thinking about doing a reverse mortgage?
Absolutely. The first thing I would do, because there's so much noise online and there's a lot of information, most of it good, I would reach out to an expert in the space, a reverse mortgage professional like myself. The second tip is I would take your time, make sure that you're well informed and educated and you're comfortable with the product and how it's going to suit your goals in the future. And then third, I would take your time in doing that. Absolutely. To ask a lot of questions. So seek a professional, ask a lot of questions, and make sure that you're informed on your decision going forward and take your time doing it.
Okay, sounds good. And just out of curiosity, how do you go after this clientele group? Because a lot of people, use the social media and different venues like that, but since we're talking about people 62 and up, how do you go after your marketing?
Very good question, Angie. I try to align myself with professionals, financial planners, real estate professionals, estate planning attorneys, fiduciaries, anybody that aligns themselves with homeowners over the age of 62 that could use some financial strategies.
Oh, okay. So a lot of networking and
absolutely
finding the right partners. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Andrew. It was very informative. I didn't know a lot of that information. And next up, we have Mike Yeager with Palomar Solar Energy. You did a great job. Hello and welcome back to Smart Real Estate. We are now joined with Mike Yeager with Palomar Solar Energy. So Mike, tell me exactly, what is Palomar Solar?
Palomar Solar is a local family-owned solar contractor. We've been around about 5.5 years. We are not a huge marketing machine. We are strictly a referral-based business, and we do not subcontract out any of our work. So the person who is on your job for the first job has done our last job. It's very common right now in the solar industry to piece out the electrical part of it, to piece out other parts of it. Everything's done in-house, and with our really high quality product offering and custom installation, we've made a name for ourselves in San Diego the last 5 years.
Wow, that's great. And then so tell me, what exactly do you guys do? The whole solar energy thing, I know that everyone's talking about it, but it is a fairly new thing, so how does it work?
Sure, well, we are just a residential solar company. A lot of companies do commercial, residential, different aspects. We strictly are a residential solar company. So here in North County, a lot of single family homes, nothing to do with condos, HOAs, stuff like that, just strictly single family residences. And really how solar works in a kind of a quick overview of it without getting too technical is, of course, you have solar panels either on your roof or on the ground, what's called a ground mount or a roof mount. Roof mounts are more common. The solar panels, of course, the sun itself is generating energy. When that sunlight hits the solar panels now create an electrical current. That panel turns that current into what's called the DC, which is disconcerting energy. That's kind of what batteries run on. But what's huge and why I brought this is that these inverters, which is really the brain of the panel, converts that now over to AC energy. And AC energy is really what most appliances, air conditionings, washers and dryers, that's what we use. A lot of companies will give you a DC number, but that's really, and to kind of over exaggerate it and to make the numbers look good as far as efficiency. But AC is what we use, and those are the numbers that you really want. And then in addition to that is net metering. So really once you get a solar system on your house, you have a net metering still with SDG&E or Edison if you're up in Temecula area. And how that works is that your energy, your meter runs backwards, of course, when you're producing energy, and then at night when there's no sun or anything, your meter is now onto the SDG&E and grid. And then after a year, it's what's called the true-up period, where everything kind of resets itself. So we strive to let people know when you talk to someone who's had solar the first year, they don't have a bill. So whether they have a not so good system or a great system, it's after that first year, that 13th month, where you really know how efficient and how good of a solar system you were sold.
Wow, Wow, so there's all different varieties and forms of it then.
There's over 300 companies in San Diego offering solar right now. A lot of them are heating and air, or they're an electrical company, and they've really kind of jumped on the bandwagon because a lot of people are doing the environmental conscious thing and going solar. But unfortunately, you have a lot of bad people in solar. And literally, Palomar Solar, we're all about customer education and service. We know that we might not get every job, but when we sit down with people, we're going to educate them in the 30 to 45 minutes so they can make an educated decision going forward.
Wow, that's interesting. So you told me a little bit about how solar energy works. And then the solar panels, you said that some can go on the roof and some can go on the ground.
Correct.
Is there a benefit to one or the other?
There's not. The ground mounts are a little bit more money usually because there's trenching, tractors, diggers, stuff like that involved. Whereas when you go on the home, you literally can go into the electric main panel of your home, which is real nice. And what Palomar Solar has done is there's two types of inverters. Not to get too crazy, but again, there's essential inverter, which is kind of a big bulky box that goes on the side of your house and kind of acts as the main brain for all the panels. Well, we have made a name for ourselves with our in-phase micro inverters where each panel has its own brain. It's been a game changer. We've done more in San Diego than anybody else. A lot of companies are now offering it because customers are much more educated now than they were 5 years ago, and they're going to be even more educated in 5 years from where they're at now. But it's huge because you can monitor each panel, so everything I tell you and put in writing, it makes Palomar Solar accountable for the system we sell you. If you go with the essential inverter, which a lot of people lease and unfortunately don't do their homework, there's no way to monitor it. So you might have a system that goes up and one of them or two panels go bad. There's no way for anybody to know. With this, there's monitoring and there's accountability. It's been a huge game changer in the solar business, and it's what we're known for. We've done more than anybody here in San Diego.
Wow, that's interesting. Now tell me, okay, for a home buyer and they want to, do solar energy on their home, how much does a system like that normally cost on average, and then how much do they end up saving in the end?
And that's not a tricky question, but it varies. And I don't want to sound vague because it's how many panels can you get on someone's roof, what their energy bill is. Right now in the solar industry, the rule of thumb is about $150 bill or more. Solar makes sense at some level. There's two ways you can do it that we do. We do not lease because the leasing companies have bought a bunch of old panels because they can still get some credits for them. Leasing, we have to sell a product that we can't hang our name on, and because we're a referral-based business, I grew up here in the area, I have to have that trust and sell a product that I can look someone in the eye and say this is the best product out there. It's not the cheapest, but it's all about education. So how it works is you can either finance it right now on a 20-year solar-only loan through the San Diego Metropolitan Credit Union, or you can pay cash through other ways, home equity line, whatever avenues you have towards that. Right now, an average system for a single family home of say $200 ballpark electric bill every month is probably right around $25,000. But even on a 20-year term with financing and everything, your monthly payment doesn't change for 20 years. Well, we're all experiencing right now the latest SDG&E increase where some people like myself could literally see 25 to 30% just this year. 5 years ago, energy rates were a lot lower. We all know where they're at now. Just think in 10 or 20 years what we're going to be paying for energy. If you can lock in your rate right now for the next 20 years, have a $200 or a $225, although the savings might not be immediate now, just think 2, 3, 4 years when your neighbors are paying $500 a month and you're still paying $200, $225.
Absolutely. So it's an investment, but it's also an investment that goes along with the house when
It
you
is.
sell.
It is.
So.
You kind of got to think just not today, which is common, but think in 2, 3 years, once our energy rates again are double, triple what they are now, you still have that same bill for 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks so much, Mike, for all the information. And next up, we have Melissa Russell, and she is a realtor with Willis Allen Real Estate. You did a great job. See you later. Hello and welcome back to Smart Real Estate. We are now joined with Melissa Russell. She is a realtor with Willis Allen Real Estate. Hi Melissa, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
So tell me, how did you choose to become a realtor?
Well, most of my career prior to real estate was advertising sales, and it was very exciting. I traveled a lot. I got to eat at the finest restaurants, etc. But during that time, I invested in real estate myself, and I bought and sold a couple of properties. I was very involved in it, and so I could see what the process was, and I also made pretty good money when I sold the properties. So I didn't get into real estate to really be an investor, but I very much believe in real estate for many reasons. So I decided I'd rather kind of work for myself, and that's what I decided to do.
Awesome. And then, okay, the real estate market today, how would you describe it? You hear so many things on the news and from different people, but from someone with your experience, you know, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's definitely a good time to buy. As we know, interest rates are at an all-time low. When I bought my first property here in San Diego, quite some time ago, the interest rate was about 13%. And my dad had to help me, of course, with that. Then I bought something in 1995 in Los Angeles, and the interest rates were 7.25%. They had gone down to that. So I thought, oh, this is fantastic. You know, great, half the amount. Now interest rates are about 4%. So you cannot go wrong, and they're predicted to rise. So from a buying standpoint, absolutely. From a selling standpoint, the same factor applies. You can buy, you know, twice as much with 4% than you can with 7%. So it's a good time to buy or to sell.
I agree. I don't think we will see interest rates again in our lifetime at the 4% rate. So
I don't think so.
So tell me, you know, what do you offer your clients that makes you different? How do you set yourself apart?
Well, because of my background in marketing and sales, I'm able to negotiate on behalf of my clients, and that becomes a huge part of the transaction. It's not just, you know, the buyer and the seller. You're negotiating with the other agent, with the services that other people provide, maybe all the different inspectors that come in. So there's a lot of negotiation. I'm able to do that, of course, on the price, which is what people seem to care about the most. And then also I have a certification in staging. And I know how to sell, period, because that's my background, but I realized quickly once I got into real estate that, oh, there's a big difference in houses that look good in terms of the price that you get and how fast they sell. So I got the certification in staging, and it's a major factor in the listings that I have selling for a higher amount than the average and faster.
Absolutely. So just, you know, for the general consumer, staging,
Yes.
what exactly is
staging?
that?
Yes.
And do you have to buy stuff to stage it, or how does that work?
Perfect question, because most people think when you say staging, oh, we're talking about bringing in tons of furniture and how much is it going to cost? And it is expensive if you go that route. And I have to say, I think the traditional staging companies, that's kind of their, you know, that's what their method is. True staging, in my opinion, is basically getting rid of clutter and making the house Q-tip clean. That's the phrase that we use, and people kind of get that. So the house needs to be arranged. Each room should look like what that room is. So a dining room, you know, that's a playroom, doesn't work very well because most people coming in don't have vision, and they just automatically want to discount the price if the house doesn't look really good to them.
Absolutely. I can see that. You know, so what should someone look for when they're choosing a realtor?
They should look for someone who listens to them, someone that has experience in some way, whether it's experience in real estate or possibly past sales experience, in my opinion. And they should look for someone with references.
I agree. And then I was looking at your website, and it said that nearly 50% of your clients are out-of-town buyers, which I thought was very interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that. Why do you think that is, or what are you able to offer those clients that maybe aren't familiar with the area?
Part of the reason for that is when I moved here in 2005 from Los Angeles, I was in Los Angeles when I got my real estate license, I decided to network with other realtors in Los Angeles after I moved down here. So it has turned into quite a large portion of my business, the referrals that I get. And so a lot of the people are moving into the area, into San Diego from another area, or they're moving out. So it has just turned out from referrals from the Los Angeles agents. That's where I've gotten that business. Of course, I also have my own clientele that I've developed here, and many of them have second homes or they don't live here full time, or they travel. So I've had to become proficient in communicating at a distance. So that is something that, of course, I'm sure that you've heard of DocuSign and all of the different technology that we have to communicate, even if we're on a different time zone.
So you have some buyers that don't even see the house, that you send pictures or videos sometimes?
I have had a number of clients. In fact, I have a client near the office here in Poway, and she always reminds everybody when I come in, and they bought the house 7 years ago. I try to stay in touch with my clients, but she'll say, I bought the house sight unseen. Her husband had seen it, granted, but still, usually the wife wants to see it. So I've had more than one client.
That's fascinating. So Melissa, can you give me 3 tips to someone that's looking to sell their home?
Absolutely. I would say, first of all, hire a realtor, because there's a lot to go through in a transaction, and you're going to get the most exposure that way to the market and get the best price. The second is to price your home according to the market. Be realistic. You're going to get a better price if you're realistic versus pricing too high, and then people sometimes will undercut your price. The third tip is to go back to the staging topic. Please talk to a stager or hire someone that has a staging background, and you're going to get more money for your house and sell it quicker.
So thanks again, Melissa, for coming on the show. It was really great information. And thank you all for watching, and tune in next week for another episode of Smart Real Estate. If you're interested in appearing on the show, go to our website, www.oakwoodtv.tv. And thanks again, Melissa.